Welcome to what might be the final Big Motor Small Blade podcast. I mean,
Quite
the ultimate worst thing ever happened. I'm Buddy Pulley. He's Seth Dolby. It started with us, and who knows what will happen. I'm sick, so we're gonna mosey on through this. With a 17.1 average finish, Joey Logano is a 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Are you surprised?
No,
Okay.
I'm not at all.
And that's the worst part of it.
Yes, yes.
In a
Exactly.
format that's supposed to be about, well, it is about winning above everything else, which unfortunately Joey Logano finds a way when not being fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The arguments are all over the place, and certainly we will get to a bunch of them, I would imagine.
Yeah. I guess we'll touch on the penalties that came out from last week's radio shenanigery. I don't even know what the penalties were. I know the spotters and crew chiefs were
All yanked.
suspended. Yeah. Some money was exchanged.
A lot of money was exchanged.
Yes. But they sure made a point to say, next time we'll get them.
Yeah.
So I was very underwhelmed with those penalties, and I guess I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
I was too. I don't understand why this was the last straw, because this is no different than don't pass up Jones. As according to Denny, this happens constantly. The truck series 2 years ago, no one gave a shit then except you.
Yep.
Yep. So I guess just because of the utter spectacle the 1 and the 3 made out of it, and then the 23 dropping half a lap coming back, I guess that was just why it looked so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think this stops anything, because I think if the manufacturers want it bad enough, they say, okay, that's worth $100,000.
Yeah. And now I will give them some sort of credit there. They said the reason they didn't penalize the manufacturers because there was no manufacturer penalty in the rule book, and they did say that will 100% be updated for next year.
Do you think it will be enforced?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Glad we established that.
No.
Yeah.
No, we've been chasing a fourth one for however long. They're not going to piss off one of the 3 we have. So
yeah. Hendrick to Honda confirmed.
That leads us into there's quite a few Hendrick Honda dealerships. My mom bought her car from one.
Hey, if anything would make my gigantic collection of 5 HendrickCars.com Chevys look a little bit better, it would be adding an Accord in there. So,
yeah.
Just saying. And while Buddy tries to not die over there.
Yeah, Seth over there flinching like I'm gonna get him sick through Zoom.
I've had enough the past month and a half of being sick, so I'm really trying to avoid that like the plague.
Yeah. So that kind of brings us into the state of the union or state of the sport, whatever fucking.
We can call it the State of the Union. I like
state of. I mean, yes. I mean, that's what it basically is. It's it's the government lying to us. So
yeah.
Just like not lying lying to us and then
gaslighting mostly.
Gaslighting, yeah. Steve O'Donnell had a couple notable quotes. I would say we have the greatest racing right now ever in our history.
Well, I mean,
the size spoke so many thousands of words.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's subjective. There are plenty of people online who do think it's pretty good right now. I'm not one of them. I don't like it.
Okay, I'll be honest. Large. There's a wide discrepancy between the best racing we have and the worst racing we have. I think we do have some really good racing right now, but I think we also have equally as bad racing.
I think if you average it out like a mathematical mean. I think the mean is crappy. That's that's my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I think yeah, that's fair. And
I
then he had another what?
I do want to talk about the one thing I did like is they
Well, no, we'll
said,
get that. We'll get there. We'll
okay.
get there. All right.
I love how
He
you knew exactly what it. There's only one thing I could have possibly liked
yeah.
in the entire thing.
Okay. And then he had another banger quote. We're not going away from the playoffs. Okay.
I'm not surprised
I'm
to
not
hear
shocked
this.
either, but
Even if they
but
were planning
but
on getting rid of the playoffs, they wouldn't admit it.
but they did say we are open to tweaks, which they have been steadfast about not tweaking. So
Yeah.
maybe.
I just want to point out,
You know how I get hopeful.
I brought this up, or I looked this up. Sorry, I did not bring it up. They
We could
bring
say
up.
what you could bring up or say whatever you want. I mean, you can lie on here.
I'm
Might be
bringing
the
it up
last
now.
show. Fuck it.
That's true. I'm bringing it up now. I hadn't previously brought it up, but I couldn't. Obviously, there's no hard data on the TV numbers for this weekend yet. I did my part by not watching as much as possible. Um, but Homestead in 2014, we keep hearing that TV numbers are up and whatever. They're up from a couple years ago, maybe. But Homestead in 2014 averaged 5,200,000. And let me pull it back up. This is slightly out of date, but Homestead, or not out of date. This is not the championship race, but
Yeah.
Homestead this year got a 2.3. Okay, that's huge discrepancy.
That's half. Less than half.
It's yeah, it's less than half. So this idea that fans are tuning out or would tune out if the championship was quote already decided, which by the way, it wouldn't have been this year. There still
No.
would have been a championship battle on the table.
That's
It,
the thing. Finish your thing.
no,
Sorry.
no, that's it. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like say what you want about the next gen car. The championships, if you look at the regular or the Winston Cup format, they've been close.
I'm
They've
not even
been
talking about the
close.
Winston Cup format. I'm just talking about this current points format with stage points and just adding it all together.
Oh well, either way, yeah,
Yeah.
they'd still be close, very
Yeah.
close. That's yeah. So
So yeah, that's not true. And that's again, that would be more exciting. I'm sorry. Than I guess to be fair, for this format at Phoenix, I guess we got the most exciting finish we could have.
yeah, this is by far the best Phoenix championship race.
But it just pisses you off watching the fucking two Penske cars do it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And fuck it, I don't care. The amount of times I've read someone say Joey had the second most amount of wins this year. Great, congrats. Good for Joey. 4 wins is nothing. Not
Jamie McMurray had 3 wins in 2010, and
and missed the
like,
playoffs
and yeah,
or the chase.
exactly. He missed the chase.
But also, why did Jamie McMurray miss the chase? Because of the other, well, he won 2 in the regular season. So
Yeah.
the other 24 races weren't up to snuff. And Joey Logano in the other 32 races this year was not anywhere close to being up to snuff.
Bro, he wasn't up to snuff in 3 of his 4 wins.
Yeah.
Hold
Well,
on, before we
two.
get into that,
Two of his 4 wins.
let's talk. Let's before we get too deep in that. Okay, let's talk about truck at Xfinity. Get that out of the way. I'm gonna ask the question, but I already pretty much know the answer. Did you watch the truck race?
I was at the World Finals, so no.
Oh yeah. So no. Okay.
No.
It was boring. Christian Eckes, I like him a lot. I think he's a hell of a race car driver. He also is dumbass material for this week because if he doesn't punt Taylor Gray, Ty Majeski doesn't make the Final Four and doesn't take him behind the woodshed. No,
And then
lube.
Corey Heim wins the title, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Still though, I mean it's not that.
I mean,
irrelevant.
yeah. I mean,
He
I
had
don't
he had a
disagree.
more fair shot against Corey Heim than he did Ty Majeski.
I mean, I don't disagree. It goes back to whether or not like Ty Gibbs won the 2022 Xfinity title, but I still think wrecking Brandon Jones was dumb as hell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, result, yeah, aside,
Yeah.
it was still a dumb move. Like,
Yes.
yeah, um, yeah. Corey Heim lost. Christian Eckes obviously lost as well. Two of the dominant trucks. I would have much rather seen a championship battle between those two than that. But Ty Majeski, I mean, late model guy. He's a grinder. If anyone's gonna, you know, make use of this BS format, then I, might as well be a guy like that that has worked his ass off his entire career. So cool for Ty Majeski, I think. Hate it for Grant Finger. Would have liked that would have been cool, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah. Try again next year so you can finish fourth again. Um, Xfinity, by far the best race of the weekend. Did you go back and watch the Xfinity race?
I did not.
It made Phoenix look like a good racetrack.
Well,
Like,
I mean, that's the Xfinity series for
yeah.
you.
Um, and that being said, Riley Herbst like dominated the race. So shout out to him winning the race for Stuart Haas in his final or in Stuart Haas's final race. Um, so you did do you, what do you know about the Xfinity race?
That Justin Allgaier won the title and Riley Herbst won the race.
Motherfucker, you missed a lot because Justin Allgaier one started in the back because he wrecked in practice, right?
Mhm.
Then he's driving like a bat out of hell. Doors Riley Herbst coming off a one or four, trying to pass someone. I think it was Allmendinger. He was trying to and cuts his own tire down at the end of stage one or two. I can't remember if it was one or two. He's got a flat tire for the last two laps of that stage. So then he's in the back. They restart and he drives back up through the field. And then um he gets a restart violation. And so he has to, come back down pit road. And this is like it must have been stage two because it was stage three that this happened. So he gets a restart violation, then speeds on the penalty. It is 50 to go, and the motherfucker's a lap down.
Okay, I did know. Okay, so Chuck and I were looking
Oh
at
yeah,
the
that's right.
leaderboard.
Yeah.
Chuck and I were looking at the leaderboard. You were trying to tell us not to say anything, and we did. And then
Hmm.
you got mad that we wouldn't tell you that Austin Hill won or not. Um, that's its own thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, we did know he was a lap down
Yeah.
at that point, and then we were like, "Damn it, that sucks."
Yeah. Well,
But
he makes a great drive, and then during the pit cycle, I'm telling you this, but I'm also I guess I'm telling the audience in case y'all didn't watch, but I would hope so. It's the best series. Um, but yeah, he
I wish they just
catches a
run the
caution.
Xfinity series on Sundays and Cup
Yeah.
series on Saturdays, so I didn't have to always watch.
Yeah. He catches a
I can find
caution.
stuff to do on Saturdays. I have a hard time finding shit to do on Sundays.
He catches a caution while before he's pitted, while he's on the lead lap for like the lap that it was gonna be, and then ends up drives like a bat out of hell through the field. And I mean, hell of a drive. He ran down Cole Custer. He did basically what Ryan Blaney couldn't do, essentially.
Okay.
And then there was some overtimes because NASCAR, and then on
At
the
some
last,
point, Austin Hill was the leader, right?
yeah, but he had stayed out on scuffed tires, like it was never gonna work. He
Yeah.
actually cost Cole Custer because Hill was the leader on the front row top. Custer chose behind him for whatever fucking reason, and then Allgaier chose behind Custer. And then the restart, Hill doesn't go. Custer gets stuck. Allgaier whips around the outside, and then Herps, um, yeah, I mean, driving like hell, and Allgaier's
Yeah.
already run into him twice, passes him on in the last turn of the last lap. When Allgaier basically like gave up, he was like,
Yeah.
"Nope."
I don't need this. Not important.
Yeah. Um.
Which see Cup drivers, that was a
Excuse me.
smart move. A Cup
Yeah.
driver battling, yeah, Ryan Blaney last year, if he had gotten to Ross
Christopher
Chastain
Bell
at the
last
end,
week.
Yeah, Christopher Bell last week. But no, last year if Ryan Blaney had like gotten to the outside of Ross Chastain with half a lap to go, he would have absolutely done the dumbest thing ever and almost wrecked it or something.
Yeah.
But
Um. Anyway, Justin Allgaier wins the championship. Hope you guys enjoyed me explaining that whole race to Seth. Um. I think we both thumbs up to like.
yes,
Yeah.
happy
That
for
was
Justin.
yeah, very happy. Yeah, to see the elation on his face, to see Dale Jr. Running through the entire the entire property of Phoenix with the championship flag. It's pretty cool. So
I was sitting there watching. I'm like, Dale, you've won championships before. I know you're
yeah, but
friends with Justin, and
yeah, I mean, man, it was just that shit. That was NASCAR. Like that
yeah,
was well, that was what you want out of a NASCAR race. Out of a
okay,
champ, that's what you want out of a NASCAR race. That's what you want the meaning of a championship to be. Is that
yeah. I mean, ultimately, I don't hate the format as much in Xfinity. A, because I don't care as much,
yeah?
but B, because
It's
I think
typically the four best.
it is typically the four best, and also that series needs viewership. So a guy locking up a championship early could theoretically hurt that.
Yeah, even though
Um,
I think that
but we should definitely still go back to something else.
I think we should do full season in Xfinity and truck. I've always said that because it teaches these drivers bad habits. Um, and that's why the cup field is what it is. Um, okay. All right, cup race at Phoenix. You did not watch. It was the best Phoenix race, but
Low bar.
that's like saying the best terrorist attack. Um, it was not. It was not a great race.
I guess it
Nothing
depends
real.
on what you mean by that.
Yeah, Blaney and Logano. No, I mean it might as well have been the championship too. Byron never sniffed the lead. Reddick was out to lunch the entire race. He tried to wreck the whole field on the backstretch at one point. Um, yeah, that was it. Jimmy Johnson ran like shit. Like it was the most NASCAR race of all time, and then it came down to it. Ryan Blaney could not get to Joey Logano. I think a lot of it is Ryan Blaney's still still a little rough around the edges because there were several times during his charge where I felt like he overdrove it. Kyle Larson definitely did not do him any favors. Um, he was raced Blaney extremely hard, but obviously Byron was up in front of Larson and second at the time. And, to quote Larson, we spent a whole last 7 days bitching about the 100% rule. So I went 100%. So shout out to Kyle. Um,
I really wish he'd have done that back in 2017, but
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Just one more
Um,
Larson glaze in there before we shut the doors here, I guess. Um, and then, yeah, like I said, I just think I think Blaney, honestly, in my opinion, I think he drove too hard. I think if he would have kept it nice and smooth, I think slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I think he gets to Joey quicker, and then I think ultimately he probably is able to make some sort of move on Joey because it definitely seemed like he drove too hard and didn't have enough once he got to Joey.
yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I don't know. I mean, Joey's so good at arrow blocking, and I don't know if he'd have been able to get him without hitting him. Which
Hit him.
he may have done, probably wouldn't have done.
They came close a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe's good at air blocking, but as fast as Blaney was, I think if he gets there, just give him 2 more laps. I think Blaney has enough car to where it doesn't matter. Um, yeah. Excuse me. And that culminates in Joey Logano winning a third Cup Series title. Um, now the fun part. Okay. Um, Like I said at the beginning of the show, 17.1 average finish. Yeah, as you were saying, he won 4 races, and we kinda left off, that I argued that 3 of them were not 3 of his wins were he wasn't the guy in 3 of them. And, I mean, Atlanta's a super speedway, so,
Yeah.
like, I kinda don't count that.
I mean, it I don't care about it, like, it doesn't do anything for
Okay,
my
let's how
opinion
about
on
this?
his season,
Yeah,
but
let's
I
just
think it's still
yeah,
fair to say that,
that's fine. Let's just take Atlanta out of it. Let's take
yeah,
the 3, um
real races.
I'm not gonna say that, but, the 3,
I'm being an
non
asshole today, so
yeah, that's
just
fine. I got, something in store for y'all here in a minute. Um, but, Nashville, we all know the story. He was running 14th. Denny Hamlin was
checking out.
quarter lap from taking the white flag, and Austin Cindric does the most Austin Cindric thing ever and spins the damn thing out in the straightaway. It was the ultimate, like, team, like, fucking NASCAR '06 total team control move to get Joey Logano in this championship, because it was Cindric that spun out and got Logano into the playoffs, winning in Nashville, and then it was fucking Ryan Blaney running 75 laps down and pushing Joey Logano uh, to the win in Vegas on fuel mileage. I mean, he's not good. Joey Logano is not that good of a race car driver. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly doesn't belong in this. I mean, it's a dead meme, but when they showed the championships all time thing, I was like, there is absolutely an imposter among this group. And I'm like, if you cherry pick like 2 seasons of Joey, you might be able to say that he belongs in this group. But if you put the whole thing together, I'm sorry, he just does not.
I watched LA Produ
Is
I
he a
wa
perfectly he is a perfectly sufficient driver. He is not 3-time champion worthy. And whether
it
or not we fix this shit ever, it doesn't matter. Officially on the record books, we are stuck with Joey Logano listed as a 3-time champion, and that is sad.
Yeah, I watched Ellie Productions. He did a video about Joey for every, going through every other year. Go subscribe to Ellie Productions if you're not already. There's way better That's a way better YouTube channel than this one. Um but he broke it down, and like I knew this and we all knew this, but it was just a little bit jarring, like seeing it just back to back to back, because I try to put as little thought into Joey Logano as possible. Um,
90% of the year I do.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's just jarring the fact that, like, pretty much every year he's gotten 1 or 2 wins in the regular season. And that's it. He just merchants 3 or 4 more in the playoffs every other year.
Yeah.
Like, I
And never in dominating fashion, unless it's the last race.
what, like, driver in the greatest driver in NASCAR history conversation, what driver is good for, we'll average it out to 3 races every 2 years?
Apparently, Joey Logano.
He's good for 3 races every 2 years. I mean, fuck, dude. I mean, I guess uh, he wins, so I guess it's better than nothing, but, like, that's a good race car driver, I guess. That's not 3-time champion worthy. It's just it's I'm not I'm mad, but it's like you said, it's not shocking. It's just, and I'm not even mad at Joey Logano. Like, as much as I hate the
No.
motherfucker, I mean, you did the damn thing.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's part of my problem with all of this is I'm not mad at Joey Logano. He literally, like, it's been said to death, but he's done what he needs to do.
Yeah.
I don't fault him for that.
No.
I really don't. Like, what do you want him to do? Go out and win 5, 6 races a year? Fucking 5 team does that. They never win the title except
Yeah.
that one time. Um, but what what do you want him to do? The problem is this format is so fucking awful that it allows that. It's a joke. It's a
Yeah.
complete fucking joke.
It
And then we
is.
have to sit here and get gaslit by NASCAR corporate telling us that this is great and blah, blah, blah. Oh, look at that. One of the greats of all time up there with Yarborough, Waltrip, Gordon. No. Dude, you can't say that and
Joey
with a
yeah,
straight face and look at me and tell me that that's true because it's not.
Joey Logano said it himself. One of the first things he said when he crossed the start finish line was, "I love the playoffs. I love them." And then he got out of the car and said, "I don't know if I'm the best driver, but" what? Like, how do you not listen to that and think, "Holy shit, we have fucked up"?
Yeah.
Like, he literally Joey Logano himself knows that he is not supposed to be here. Like, I'm sorry. He but he doesn't have the decency as a human being to actually have real imposter syndrome. Like, this is yeah.
I mean,
This is the final straw for a lot of people.
yeah.
This has to be. This has to be.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get the TV numbers, and I'm sure it's not gonna be great. And we're gonna get gas. Like, I don't know. I don't like. What do you even say to that?
Yeah.
Like I pointed out earlier, we're down 2,500. Sorry, we're down 2.5 million viewers since this format started.
Yeah.
And ironically, they made the format better since then,
Mhm.
as far as fairness goes.
Yeah.
So we've, as far as having with having a winner take all last race of the season, this is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
We could still have a happy medium with the 10 race playoffs, which by the way would still get gamed. We saw Jimmy Johnson, Chad Canals game the fuck out of that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. They
But
gamed
at
it so
least they
much.
had to be a top 10 driver
Yes. No,
or
100%.
team.
But the point is no matter what, as long as you are running at basically the same tracks every year in the same order, and you know when you have to go, there's going to be people who game the system, and the numbers are just going to look worse. And that's the way it is. The difference is here, the 22 or the Penske team over the entirety of the time I've been watching NASCAR, other than a handful of seasons, has never proven to be able to do it over a full season.
No,
Like
absolutely not.
Brad won straight up in 2012
Joey would have won the championship in 2014.
under the chase format,
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Gordon would have won. My
which
apologies.
again, 2014 was one of the years Joey was actually really good.
Yeah.
They had 5 wins.
Yeah,
They were
absolutely.
contenders weekly. So that I would have been less upset about. Obviously, I'm a Gordon fan, so I would have been still upset about it, but it would have been less less
Fraudulent.
fraudulent. 2015, the same. Again, both those years, he wasn't the best car, but you can at least make the argument.
Yeah.
They were contending weekly and they were up front. The past 3 years, they just haven't. 2018 is his least fraudulent championship. And that one still sticks out because of how good 2
He
of the other
won
guys were.
Talladega.
Yeah,
He won Talladega
in
under
April.
caution
Yes.
and then didn't win again until Martinsville
Are you
in
are you sure it was
2018.
Oh, I'm thinking of 16. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it just, I don't know. It it sucks because it's like we're the laughing stock of the motorsports community.
And again,
And it
this idea that everyone will tune out if the championship's already decided is bullshit. We had a full house at the World of Outlaws World Final, and David Gravel already locked up the championship. Bobby or B Shep had pretty much locked up the title. I don't know what happened with the
yeah,
modifieds. It was already locked up.
yeah,
So it wasn't important. Now, obviously, you can make the argument that that kind of racing doesn't come around here as often, but
yeah,
dirt late models are all over the place in North Carolina, so that's also not true.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. We in the biggest growth period in NASCAR's history ever, we had Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and guys locking championships up early. Dale Earnhardt locked a bunch of championships up early by not even close margins. I mean, like what, 94, he won by like what, 400 points?
Something ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah, that shit was way over like 3, 4 races before. It didn't matter.
yeah.
It didn't matter. And you kept the integrity of your racing. And when you had a championship come down to the wire like 1992, it gets talked about to this day.
Hmm.
Not a single, maybe the first playoff championship. But other than that, I don't think 23, 20, 30 years from now, I don't think anybody's going to talk about these championships. They're
No,
going to say, look at that time that Joey Logano mitted his way into 3 championships.
yeah.
That was stupid.
I mean, dude, here's the and it's like I understand like there's so much more to watch, to do than there used to be. So I understand the why behind the playoffs. But there is a happy medium that there's a just refusal to go back to figure out. Like, I mean, we could do it could be so much better. And it's just
And it's a system that is kind of a barrier to new fans. Every time I've explained it to someone, they say that it's stupid.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever explained it to someone and they thought it sounded cool. They thought that sounds
I think the
overcomplicated
best
and really dumb.
I think the best reaction I've ever gotten to explaining the playoffs is, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I think yeah.
The other
It's
reaction is, what the fuck is that?
yeah.
What is a
It's
playoff point?
yeah.
Like, they don't, no one, realistically, hardly anyone understands it unless you are fully inundated into it
Yeah.
because it's overcomplicated. It's dumb. I don't have a better way of saying that. It's dumb. It's really dumb. And it's not sport. Like in the most basic way, it's just not. Oh, football does it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the time that the NFL got all 32 teams together to play one game of football and the Kansas City Chiefs won. I mean, it would definitely be the Kansas City Chiefs because the refs would make sure that would happen. But I forgot that that happened. And then we went through the playoffs to get some normal games of football. And then we had one game at the end of the year where 2 teams played. I forgot that that happened. Oh, wait, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's why we need playoffs because every team doesn't play each other every year. And I don't know. I don't understand. Every other racing series on the planet has this figured out better than we do.
Motorsport as a whole is in trouble. Formula 1 is was on the rise and it is kinda coming back down. And I think it is there's a it is a bubble that is gonna burst, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Because what people be ultimately, and this is really not to
It's a
disparage.
fad. It's a fad.
Well, why was it a fad? It's not, and this is not me trying to disparage F1. It's really not. I ultimately I kind of appreciate what they got going on. a couple years ago because I've always been of the belief that a rising tide raises all ships. So I felt like F1 being big would have some carryover effect, and I think it has.
It definitely has. Yeah, that's kind of what I
But
was. Yeah,
why was F1 popular? Ultimately, it wasn't because of the racing, and that's not me trying to say that F1 racing sucks all the time or whatever. It's because people liked the lifestyle.
yeah,
They liked That's why Drive to Survive was so big, was because these guys live big lifestyles because they're rich as fuck. That's not sustainable
no,
for racing because ultimately racing needs to be the thing people tune in for.
yeah. And it's like even the race you ask any new F1 fan that's like the racing's amazing. A lot of times they've ended up bleeding over into IndyCar and NASCAR and liked it better. Um, but I say motorsport as a whole is in trouble because high tides do raise all ships, and no one has any interest in doing that. Nobody in motorsport has any interest in that. We had a
Yep.
very reputable IndyCar reporter and our good friend, David Land, actively cheering on the failure of yesterday.
I was as well. I'm just being honest.
Look, it, yeah, but you're not on Twitter, you know, with however many thousands of
Yes,
followers.
but ultimately, the problem is NASCAR has backed us into a corner and stated over and over how great this is. We love it, blah, blah, blah. We like what we see. The only card we have left is to watch it fucking burn. And then maybe they will get their heads out of their asses. The Steves and Jim France and all these dumb motherfuckers have ruined this once great series. And we are hurting our cause by continuing to support it like we have. So ultimately, yes, I was rooting for Joey Logano to blow it up yesterday. And I don't think I got my way. But at the very least, we have caused a ruckus. We've caused a ruckus to the point where Jeff Gluck put up a poll to ask people what they would rather see. And the
But
playoff format got buried.
yeah, but here's the thing. You are doing it because you want it to succeed. And so you want the absolute you want it to get to its very bottom to rise back up. Not a lot of other people want that. I use David Land as an example, but he is merely an example. There's a lot of people out there in other motorsports that look at this and are cheering on this. Are saying we want this to happen because we want NASCAR to bring it down because we want other series IndyCar that's not that great right now in either
Yep.
to rise up. And it's just we are so motorsport as a whole is so splintered right now. And it's fucked, dude. Like it's so fucked. Like
I mean, I was listening to David's video today about I guess the state of IndyCar
well,
and
and that's what made me bring that up. I
yeah,
watched that too. It's
that
it,
that that made me that made me worried about the future of IndyCar
yeah.
because they're kind of like NASCAR in a way that they're not going to admit that there's a problem, and we're not going to expedite a new car or fix anything.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep running this until I tweeted back at Kyle Petty, who is fucking insufferable these days. I will just say that out loud. Um,
Fuck it.
I tweeted back at him,
What did
NASCAR
he say?
media. What did he say? Someone he was replying to someone. Someone said they were basically done watching, or that
Yeah.
this was a joke or something. And he said, "Good for you, bud. Whatever." Like this snarky bullshit that pissed me off. And so I said, NASCAR media will would rather sink with this ship than admit that we have a problem and something needs to change. I'm paraphrasing. I don't think that's exactly how I put it, but that's pretty much what I put.
Yeah. No, I
And
mean,
I mean, it got some engagement for a fucking reply to a Kyle Petty tweet.
Yeah.
which tells me and both thing and then this morning I was reading and I think I was the first person to vote on the Gluck poll and I wrote full season and then screenshot it and wrote stop the count. That got a bunch of likes.
Yeah.
So it tells me, and obviously that for transparency, the 10 race chase won the Gluck poll. Not the full season,
Yeah.
but it was pretty close. It was about, I don't know, three-fourths voted for either one of those, and then a quarter of the people voted for the playoffs. So I would call that getting buried. Yeah, I just think people have hit a I mean, we've been saying it for years and people have been, I guess, bluffing for years that they're done with this series and they're done with
Yeah.
NASCAR leadership and they hate the playoffs. But ultimately it hadn't changed anything. Fan attendance at the track had actually gone up. Well, theoretically gone up. They got rid of so many seats and then started
Yeah.
selling out. So you could argue that one to some extent. Um, but I feel like this genuinely feels like a final straw. Like, I mean, if I have gotten to the point
Yeah.
where I did not watch 90% of the cup race, actually, it was probably more than that. But if I did that on purpose, like I wasn't off doing something, I just genuinely decided not to watch it, then that's pretty much the end of the line for me.
And here's the thing. This is way beyond. It carries back around to NASCAR, but it goes beyond NASCAR for some people. It's beyond a sport for just some people. Like, I mean, we don't get political on here, but this isn't even really political. But you know what? Fuck it. It might be our last show. I don't really give a shit. Gives a fuck. Joey Logano won his third title. Everything's on the table nowadays. Um, we live in a world today where women are scared of losing their rights to their own body. Our friends in the LGBT community just want to live their own human experience, but can't without looking over their shoulder. Most of the country is living paycheck to paycheck, and are one unexpected expense away from just financial devastation. We're in the middle of November in North Carolina, and the number of days under 70 degrees is in single digits. And those in charge of just our country right now are, and a lot of world leaders around the world are not only complicit, but just funding a genocide in Gaza right now. The world's in a fucking shit place. And it's like mental health is a greater problem than it's ever been. And people rely on these escapes from that just to get through the day. And for like millions of us, it's NASCAR that we use as that escape. And this playoffs format has made a mockery of the sport we all like sit down and dedicate every Sunday to. I mean, I've watched the sport since I was, since I can remember. That's over a quarter century. I'm 27 years old. The driver, it's not as simple as going and finding another sport or another thing to watch, another motorsport. These are drivers, these are tracks, these are teams that I've poured my passion to root for, to root against. And I think I share the same sentiment as everyone else out there that NASCAR is more than just a sport. And this playoff format is broken my heart because I'm falling out of love with it.
Yeah. That's why I mean, really well put. I'll be completely honest. But I mean, that's why I mentioned specifically that I didn't watch much of the race because give me fuck 5 years ago, you wouldn't catch me missing the last race of the season. I didn't like the format, this, that, or the other. You couldn't have possibly gotten me to not watch that race. I mean, I could have been like half dead in the hospital and I would have made someone turn the race on. But I here's the biggest problem is you've gotten to the point with a lot of people. Now people are upset right now. The problem is They're upset right now. And NASCAR sees that as we're getting Twitter engagement, we're getting this, that, and the other. Some people are still hate watching this, that, and the other. It's going to turn into apathy very soon. I think I might have stolen that from David's video. I'm not 100% sure, but I felt this. I stole the phrasing. This is a thought I've been having for a long time because it's gotten that with me. I left the track at Martinsville the other day. Again, if you've never watched this show before, sorry, we're pretty much done. But I am a Kyle Larson fan. I left the track. I didn't give a shit. He got eliminated. I don't care. It wasn't important to me that he make it. It wasn't important to me that he win the title. I don't care. I got one. I'm fine with that. It's probably not going to happen again because this format's stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't care. And that's not good. That's really bad for NASCAR because it starts with a few of us not caring anymore, but still watching most of the time. And then it turns into not caring enough to watch. And then, probably the last thing for me would be not caring enough to show up. That's probably the order it's going to go in.
Yeah.
If this keeps going, because the last thing I'm probably would give up would be going to the racetrack, which is still one of my favorite things to do, even if I'm apathetic to the series as a whole.
I remember when Joey Logano won his championship in 2018, and obviously Kevin Harvick was also in that championship fight, so that made it that much worse when Joey won. But I remember just being just depressed about it for that entire night. I think that race was on my birthday too. Maybe not.
Were
Maybe
you
the day
at that one?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I remember just laying on my couch for hours after that race, just because I cared so much that not only that the guy I hate the most, the driver I love the most lost, but also, this guy that I hate the most won on this bullshit format.
Yep.
Yesterday, Joey won. Okay. I started scrolling on my phone. I could not have cared less.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I'll give a personal example that's not NASCAR, but it's the same thing. 9 years ago, I sat in front of the TV after the Panthers got royally fucked on national television by the NFL in Super Bowl 50 for probably 2.5 or 3 hours. Just sat there, let the local news run. I didn't move. I didn't say anything.
yeah,
I was broken.
yeah,
9 years later, enough bullshit has happened. David Tepper has run the worst organization in professional sports for long enough that when the Panthers win, like yesterday, I go, yay. And then I move on with my day.
yeah,
Like they won and I barely gave a shit. So that's unfortunately, that is the route me and a lot of other people have or are about to take with NASCAR unless something changes. And then what happens when people stop watching? Well, sponsors figure that out. They stop spending money. And when sponsors stop spending money, race teams have to get out. And the price of a charter is going to plummet because it's not going to be worth anything. You're going to see there's going to be a big tell, I'm going to guess. My guess is there's going to be a big tell. At some point, there's going to be a bunch of teams that sell off charters in a couple years span because they think they need to get out.
yeah, yeah. I said people want to say it's not even just the format.
It's
It's
a
the
lot of things.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
the principle of what this format represents. Um,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's all we got, I would imagine.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If they're being serious about boys have at it being done, I'm good with that. I've been saying that for a few years.
Yeah.
That would that's one of the things that would help. Obviously, it doesn't matter if it all comes down to one stupid fucking race at Phoenix, but A for effort, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
look, we've joked all episode that this is the last Big Motor Small Blade podcast. I don't know that that's 100. I don't know that that's true, but it it could be.
Full
I
disclosure,
think.
it's my last episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Um.
is I do not enjoy talking about this series anymore.
Yeah.
Like I said, the apathy thing has really set in for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I'm I'm not talking about it anymore. All it
Yeah.
does is upset me.
And that's the thing that sucks the most is because we started this in to the fall of 2021, right?
Yeah.
Because we loved talking about it. That's all we did. It's literally in our bio and everything. It's because all we talk about. And it's just to the point it's like neither we
Yeah.
don't enjoy talking about it
I started
anymore.
this well, when we started this, my thought process was obviously, again, if you don't know, the name Big Motor Small Blade is a reaction to the old 550 package, the small motor big blade package, as I like to call it. Um, was not a fan of it. And the reason we called it that was because we wanted to see it change
Yeah.
because it sucked. And ultimately, my thought process about this entire thing, this entire YouTube show thing, was to bring and I know we're not the only ones, but
No.
I've heard a lot of fans, and a lot of fans have a lot of opinions. I felt that ours needed to be out there because I didn't feel a lot of my opinions were really represented in
No.
basically any space.
Exactly.
Um,
I didn't feel like a lot of mine were. I feel like
I still
we had
barely don't. I
I
really don't anymore.
it's funny, back to political things. I happen to been listening to a couple different podcasts that like Bernie Sanders was on, and like the one word that gets brought up is radical. And you really listen to his ideas, and they're not radical. They're just radical for the climate.
Yeah.
And I think that that says very I think that describes us a lot. We didn't say things that people didn't say to us in private. It's just no one else was willing to say it.
Yeah.
And we've been very vocal about all the issues. We've been very fair. Like, let's be clear. I feel like we've been very fair to
I try to be
NASCAR.
very fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, dude, look, I've tried to keep a positive attitude and like keep some sort of, keep pushing mentality to it. Bro, I mean,
Yeah.
this is it's we've we joke, man, we got shit done on this podcast, and this is the one Goliath we haven't been able to take down is the playoffs.
Yeah. Ultimately, I thought putting my voice out there, putting our voice out there, seeing if we could get a backing, which we've done better than I honestly thought we would do. Um,
Yes, we've done way better than
and
I thought
so
we were.
thank you to everybody who has tuned in
Yes,
over the past
3 years.
3 years. Um, but I've come to the conclusion that I think not engaging is going to be the best move moving forward because NASCAR only looks at engagement. What they don't look at what opinions are being given. They don't look at reason. They don't look at anything. It's just engagement. And unfortunately, negative engagement is still engagement. And I'm no longer interested in feeding into their negative engagement metric.
It's just like a a relationship. Like if you guys, at full disclosure, we're doing full disclosure. A lot of the reason I was wanted to start this podcast is because the year prior I had gone through a really bad breakup, and so I needed some sort of distraction, and this provided that a lot. And I think I've mentioned before, but my mental health is not the greatest in the world. But it's a lot like a relationship. You can work so hard to try to work through the problems, talk out the problems, but eventually when nothing changes, you gotta like it's you go silent and you back away from it.
Um, And as that's really what it feels like for me right now.
Yeah,
Like that's how I feel. I feel like my long-term relationship is ending,
definitely. Yeah,
and it's sad. It's
yeah,
really sad. If I wasn't one of those human beings that was broken on the inside, I would probably cry about it. But
yeah,
unfortunately, I'm not wired that way, so you're not going to get any tears out of me. Um,
yeah. I mean,
but yeah,
look, and I wasn't mincing words when I said, my heart's breaking because I'm feeling a lot of the same way. Like, and that's the thing. It's like it's not that we're never gonna watch the sport again after this year. That's
I'm
not
sure
true.
I'll still watch 80% of the races
Yeah,
next year.
exactly. We'll still watch. We'll still go to races because it's fun. We have friends at the racetrack. We still, we're gonna be friends with
Still
dogs.
love it.
Yeah, I still love it, but
That's where all this comes from. I
it's a
wouldn't I wouldn't be us we wouldn't be so goddamn upset about it if we didn't love it.
mhm. And it's just it's something that we're gonna have to determine over the off season. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to determine over the off season if I really like if it's worth showing up every week and talking about again.
I'm thinking for me, I think part of it too would be to put my effort into other racing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a
I think it would
yeah,
make me feel better, and I think I don't know.
yeah. I mean, we'll talk more about the future
Yeah.
of the channel at a later date because we have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. The pike, yeah, down the pike.
I don't I've never heard that.
Really, I think it's technically that. I could be completely
Pike
wrong.
is a fish. I think you're thinking of a pipeline.
Down the pipeline, but down the pike, I feel like is anyway, we'll hit that up later.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about all that stuff at a later date, but I mean, there'll still be NASCAR content on this channel, some way, shape, or form. We don't know how. It could be, maybe they do something in the playoffs and or maybe I get reinvigorated and or, you know, maybe I
Fuck, fix the playoffs, I'm back. Like,
yeah. I mean, maybe I don't fix the playoffs and I forget this conversation ever happened, and then I get to this point next year, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, fuck." Um, but,
that's part of my problem, and that's why, because like, wanna I didn't necessarily wanna do this year,
yeah,
and early in the season, I'm able to, like, kind of forget about it,
yeah,
and then by the time midseason rolls around, I'm like, "Well, fuck, if I stop doing it now, it looks weird." So,
yeah.
every year for the past couple, I've been like, "Let me just get to the end of the season."
Same reason yeah,
And it occurred to me very early in this season that it was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm
yeah.
not interested."
Look, yeah, I'm still here, for the same reason most of y'all are here to begin with, Shane Van Gisbergen. That's that's the one thing that's captivating me, so we'll see what happens. We'll stay updated. We have On Tour still going on this year. We will have some sort of season recap for Shane Van Gisbergen in the coming weeks. So don't unsubscribe.
Yet.
Yeah, yeah, no. We got stuff coming. It's yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I think that's it. Sundress and
Sundress.
dumbass.
I feel like the Sundress and Dumbass are super easy this week. Maybe it's just me. Justin Allgaier is Sundress, I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm gonna go with Riley Herbst.
That's fair.
Um, yeah, just because you took Justin Allgaier. Um,
Yep. And dumbass, for old time's sakes, for all time's sakes, NASCAR,
yeah,
Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell, Jim France,
the Holy Trinity.
Elton fucking Sawyer,
Oh shit.
all of them.
Yeah,
They're all dumbasses. They don't know how to run. They probably couldn't run a fucking lemonade stand. We shouldn't be letting them run NASCAR. I know Jim France owns it,
the
but
the
whatever.
Fucktastic Four.
Can 2311 win the lawsuit and then do a hostile takeover and we can let Denny Hamlin run NASCAR?
Shit.
Be better than what we got.
Dumbass for me is gonna be Ryan Blaney.
Fair.
Because if you just let Daniel Suarez win the fucking Las Vegas race, you win the championship. So
Yep.
yeah.
Great job.
Congratulations. Keep it up, champ.
Yeah.
um, yeah. What's next? Picks. Who did you yep, you won. I have no clue who won the picks. We'll have to
It definitely
reconvene.
wasn't me.
We'll put
I
out a
did really
we'll
see.
put out a press release.
No, that's how dumb this has gotten. I got 0 winners right all season and then got Joey Logano at Las Vegas, was a corner away from getting Ryan Blaney at Homestead right, and then got Joey Logano at Phoenix correct. So that's how bad this has gotten.
Seth somehow won this. I don't know. I have no clue, but I'm gonna add him up, and somehow Seth won this, and it's probably gonna be because he Joey Logano'd his way into it.
I mean, look, if our thing is a playoff format, then I did win.
Yeah, sure. Um, I think that's it, and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm about to throw up. So that's real
Then we
fun.
should probably end this
Yeah,
before you do that.
yeah,
So,
that should probably be. We'll see you later, Gary.
bye, Gary.
Go fuck yourselves.